Hey, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're wondering why I am laughing, it's because no matter how early I decide to come on prior to the show and
As
pre-production,
early as possible tonight.
there's always something effing up. When I tell you everything was working fine, lighting was good, audio, everything. And like 10 minutes prior, shit just started falling apart. I was picking up pieces on the floor. If you can see my sweat stains, oh my God, TMI. But we're not here for me and my drama. I do have a nice drink because we're going to talk about something something crazy went on. And I'm literally watching this shit live. The president is
Same.
like yesterday was in the process of being assassinated. And I'm like, what the fuck am I witnessing? Me and my husband were outside on the patio talking, doing what couples do. He comes in and all I hear him is like, oh snap, oh shit. I'm like, what can he possibly be talking about? It sounded like somebody was getting jumped. So I'm running in the house to see what's going on because I'm nosy. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I see the president drop. He holds his ear, he drops. Then the crowd is going. I'm not at first thinking that it has to do with, per se, an assassination attempt. Because even though the crowd is kind of moving around, no one's screaming like the way a panic really would when someone's shooting in the crowd. So that wasn't my first, go. But before we get into all that, definitely, Liz, say hi. We're gonna
Hey guys, how are you? So, of course, you already mentioned it. Like and subscribe. Please join the conversation from the comment section. We are going to be trying to get to them as quickly as we can and answer any questions that you have, or reading any comments, concerns,
all opinions. We actually had people bringing in comments prior to the show starting. I was like, wait, you can actually do that? How is that possible?
I didn't know that was a thing. We got the first comments at 8:35. I was
Yeah. So I'm glad y'all tuned in, ready to turn in and tune out, or turn the shit off because you threw of everything. I don't know, because I know I'm fed up. It's just too much. I was even putting in the comments. I was like,
it's a lie.
I thought all this shit was going to pop off the end of the year during election time.
The year, but I thought it wouldn't start till at least next week. We got the RNC convention. I figured, okay, fine, we'll have stuff to talk about.
But you know what? We promise we're going to get into all that. I just want to definitely say there was a lot of things happening while the president was getting taken out. We had a lot of deaths for celebrities. I just want to say, may their souls rest in peace.
Right.
Shelley Duvall, she played in The Shining. She was also Olive Oil in Popeye. Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, if y'all was into sex and needed the sex therapy. You know how that went. I was too young. Anyway, Sharon Doherty for 90210. But definitely I wanted to also, the one hero that, Corey, what was it? How do you pronounce his last name? Compatori,
yeah.
Okay. Quick decision to use his body as a shield against the bullets flying towards his wife and daughter. And range to the close friends and neighbors who love and respected the proud 50-year-old Trump supporter, noting that the Butler count.
It was, he was in Butler. He was behind the president, saw the bullets or heard the bullets or whatever, and decided that he would shield his family. And
very honorable.
It didn't make it through there. That is honorable. So
yes, definitely. So I wanted to kind of talk about, what was your first reaction before we go into, is it staged? Is it a hoax? All the crazy conspiracy theories that are going around. What was just your first reaction seeing it? I'm calling you in real time.
Oh, because we were on the phone at 6:13. This happened at 6:11. So
yeah, we were in real time talking to each other. Yeah.
It really became evident to me yesterday that I'm a real news junkie, and so are you. Like, I thought I was, but I wasn't sure. Confirmed. Somebody actually asked me. I said I saw it when it happened. And they're like, "You watched the Trump rally?" And I was like, "Well, So, okay, so the way that it actually happened, it's Dr. Ruth had passed, and Richard Simmons, and the
Mhm.
banners were scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Um, my husband ran out to go drop my daughter off at the neighbor's house. Usually she would walk, but it's raining in Florida. And so he decided he'll go drive her over. They had a play date or something. And the moment he left, I happened to have it on mute because I don't know what I was doing. And I'm reading the scroll across the bottom of the screen. And I noticed that, on the big part of the screen, he grabbed his hair and he ducked down. And I'm like, what's he doing now? So if you're asking, that was kind of my first reaction because I'm watching it in real time. And then I saw the Secret Service jump on the stage, and I'm like, uh-oh. So I really quick hit the DVR button, rewound it real fast, turned up the volume, and then you hear the pop, 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 got the air, goes down, and I'm like, this can't be happening. I kid you not. It was like I was stuck on repeat. I hit the rewind button again. So when everybody else was already seeing him bloody, by now I've called my husband. I'm like, oh my God, something's going on. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, there was a pop in, an air grab on the floor, Secret Service. I don't know what's going on. He's like, what do you mean? He stepped out for 60 seconds and, like kaboom, right?
Mhm.
Then my next call was to you, right? And we literally didn't even have any words to say to each other. It was like, you're watching. Okay, bye. And that was all we had. We got off of the phone, and then I was able to fast forward and kind of catch up. That's around the time that he was getting up and had his fist in the air, and I'm going,
Well, let me put a little spin on, a little spice on it. So
okay.
as soon as I'm calling you and you're like, wait, I don't see blood, I'm rewinding it back. I'm like at the same time multitasking, hitting other people up, like, yo, I think somebody really tried to clap this dude. And I'm spazzing because I was a little kid. I'm not gonna say my age, but I was a little kid when somebody tried, they shot Reagan. But being a little kid, I'm not really understanding the concept of what's going on. I see something happening, but I'm not really understanding. But we already know about today's format, the world, social media, what is going on with Trump. When one of his rallies, when he was actually trying to, you know, advocate for himself to become president, somebody had, I think, stormed the stage one time and or threw some. I don't know what it was to its certainty, but this is way back when he was promoting, endorsing himself and everything. The Secret Service came in. The Secret Service came in and grabbed him up. So at first I'm thinking, is this what it is? But when I see the blood, and the blood is oozing from the ear, and I'm looking and I'm zooming in, like, wait a second, somebody trying to shoot him, and I'm freaking out because I said, oh snap, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of a civil war. That's what my initial thoughts were. And the reason why I said that was because I didn't think, oh, was it a Democrat? Was it a Republican? Was it this? Was it that? I knew that no matter who did what, there will be crazy people wanting retaliation because it happens like that. And if you go on social media right now and go on conservative platforms, you'll have a lot of different people saying, hey, if you take Trump out, you're taking me out. If you do this, you do this, and you have a lot of people who are, they're taking this really seriously, as if you shot their son or something. And they're making their, go ahead.
We should take it a little seriously. I'm gonna, okay, I'll go. You went all the way back to Reagan, and you even talked about the first time that they had to kind of tackle Trump on stage and whatnot. But I remember even when they threw a shoe at Bush. You remember that? I mean, Bush was not my guy, but he was the president. And, somebody in some other country threw a shoe at him. And I mean, I remember my response was, yo, off with his head. So, because just this as an American, I mean, that Trump ain't my guy, let's be real clear. But I'm like, is somebody just get a shot at the president, the ex-president, or the former president? I mean, let me play devil's advocate. Suppose it was President Obama speaking somewhere, or say it was Hillary Clinton speaking somewhere, or it was Biden speaking somewhere on just the.
Well, and to even go a little further, because it's a lot to unpack because of the fact of who he is. He is somebody who stirs up the pot anyway. So imagine I'm always talking shit all the time to everybody under the sun. You can get it. You can get it. Your mama can get it. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody wants a piece of me. So it's like, okay, somebody ends up taking a shot at Kia. Who could have possibly did it? Because she's always talking. She's always doing something. So it's like, well, he has a lot of enemies. So in real time, I'm going through different television stations just to see what's being, what's putting put out there. 100%. And I remember Fox News saying, they was having somebody on the ground at the actual incident, and they're like, these radicals who hate Trump, those on the other side, I know they're up to something. They're starting something. And I'm like, wow, why would Fox News say something like that? And they didn't have the facts. You don't know who this guy was. But I did know one thing. He was not Latino and he wasn't black. Because we waited.
If it was Jesus Rodriguez.
If it was Leroy, we would have knew. Yes. So it's very good. As soon as I didn't hear, because I had some undercover conservatives pop up, and they're like, oh, and them immigrants, it was probably them. No, it wasn't no immigrant. No.
It was not an immigrant.
And it wasn't Leroy. So leave them alone.
It was not Leroy, yo.
No, it wasn't part of the LGBT community.
The other people with snipers. There's a difference. I'm sorry.
But the reason why I was like, yo, we have to talk about this is because now I'm on social media. And I'm looking at Black Twitter. I'm looking at what's going on out there in the streets.
Okay.
A lot of people saying that this shit is staged. I'm like, what do you mean staged? Are you saying that Trump possibly hired somebody to clip him so that people could feel sorry for him so then he could win the election? Is that what we're talking about when we're talking about staged? Or I do believe it was an inside job, and we're going to go into that a little bit deeper. But I just want to hear, are you hearing any of those conspiracies?
Of course I'm hearing that. I heard that in an instant. So I heard that a few people thought maybe it was a BB gun. A few people thought it wasn't real at all. Somebody joked that it was ketchup on his face. It's ketchup. It was weird, and it kind of amazed me how weird it got so fast, right? I mean, because already it was not Jose, it was not Leroy, and I don't know how it became the Jews. Did you see that? That's another one. Oh, it was the Jews. It was.
I heard about what's the other guy that's running independent? It was Kennedy. One of the Kennedy family, because there's a guy that's right behind him that was related to the Kennedys, and they're like, oh, it's him. I heard a lot of that. Yeah.
Now, look, I think first of all, I think they just went a really weird place, right? Because all the conspiracies started popping off with the BB gun and the ketchup and everything else before we realized people were actually killed. The strangest thing before we even get into the conspiracy side of it, to me, the wildest part of this whole entire thing, the fact that somebody got a clear shot of the next president is weird.
We're gonna talk about it.
But the fact that he jumped up and first of all, his first concern, but this is for my Trump people out there that are the Trump followers, where's my shoe, right?
Let me get my shoes. Let me get them safe. Let me get my $1 million.
He can't process shock. But even after he processed it and everything else, his next 3-4 words, if I'm not mistaken, were fight. First of all, fight who?
Fight somebody. Somebody get their ass beat today.
A room full of his people, were they supposed to fight each other? Like who are they supposed to fight? Like what do you know?
Let's go into the comments real quick.
Yeah, we can do that. So all right, so Humble Lion, who dropped a comment in there before we were even live, right, said he's got to get up for work, so he's going to leave us with this. It's easier to fool people than to tell them that they have been fooled. And he said mic drop. So
I wanted to elaborate on that, but he had to go to work, so we'll talk again.
He did have to go to work. I hope he can get with us soon. And so Toya said, God Sunday evening blessings. And so, hi Toya. So you got Cash saying, hey family, hey Cash. Annie saying hello. And then we got the Popcorn Passport tuning in. He said, this is stage. It's so fake.
No. So here's the thing. And that's what, and if you're still on, please elaborate on that. And the reason why I want to know, when you meaning that it's fake, are you meaning that, hey, it's fake that it's like this whole prop setup, like it really wasn't actual ammunition, that type of thing, or is it so fake like he had to do with it? Like, I want to know exactly which part. Is it all fake? Because like you said, real people are going to be burying real people, like real family members have, died. Now, what I did find interesting is when you have a mass crowd and someone shooting, you will get the response of everybody dispersing. There were a lot of people.
That was different. Like, again, everything. I think I'm still processing. So you're gonna hear me say words like that was strange. It was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I think
That's
honestly,
what I want to elaborate. So no. That's what I'm gonna elaborate. So when people, whoever's out there in the audience who's saying, "Hey, this shit was fake," just kind of let me know exactly which part, because that was real blood going down his ear. Now, I do want to go ahead and talk about. I want to talk about the fact that I went to go see Barack Obama campaign.
Oh, we did.
And he was in Orlando, Florida, and we waited for hours. We had to get there very early in the morning. And they had this line. And while you're waiting, right before the president comes, or the potential president, you have all the police have a motorcade. And they're coming. I mean, you can't get on that street. And prior to the motorcade coming, they're blocking the street also. If you was a driver or a pedestrian or whatever the case may be, you're just going to be sitting in traffic. Because it's like 20, 30. You got the motorcycles. You may have horses. They're coming. Black Suburbans, they're going deep. And then they get there and then you don't see them anymore. Now the line, maybe 45 minutes later, is going to start beginning. And while you're proceeding to go through the line, you're going to go through many security points. And they have these signs. You can't have this. You can't have this.
No.
Leave your mom, leave your mom's wooden leg to the side. Like all the things. Whatever you thought you could bring, you cannot bring it. At that time, I had a keychain. And the keychain was attached to my keys. And it was a Juicy Couture heart. But the heart had fell out, and it's just kind of like the ring portion of the heart. It was really a nice, real big size, and it held the actual keys. And I remember I was holding up the line because the Secret Service agent guy pulls it out, and he's like separating, he's shaking, he's jiggling. I mean, he damn near bit it with his tooth to see what the fuck this was. So he's asking me, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a part of the keychain, but the keychain broke." He's like, no, that's not going to work. And he literally, before I could touch anything, he's taking my keys off. And he says, well, you cannot go in with this. And I said, well, why? With my keys. You hold on to your keys. And this is going in the trash. And that's the trash. Because he said, because this could be a projectile to the president. What the hell? A projectile? Who's throwing? So me, of course, I'm like, wow, okay. And I was in the military, so I do know how to secure stuff and all these different things. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about this hard object being able to be launched at the president.
Right.
We get it in. President's still not there. Everybody get little signs about hope. And yes, we can. Woo. And when the president is out there and he's got the crowd going, the Secret Service had they weren't dressed in black. They had cool, whatever the attire was, a casual, they had the casual outfits on too. And when the cameramen got too close, they was on them. They had the look, like you could not move. It's that serious. You do something that's out of pocket, it's that serious. So before we get into the comments, I want to share my screen real quick.
Okay.
Real quick with you guys. So just bear with me. I'm going to pray that this is actually going to work. I can share my screen. Can you see?
It's not great, but we get the point. We get your point.
Okay. Well, just zoom in, people. So we have right now the stage where Trump is at. So you have Trump's stage, right? And then you have the shooter location. You have the counter sniper team on the opposite side, and then Trump's evacuation point. I want you guys to remember this picture because I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay? This is where it kind of really gets good. The former Secret Service director, Julia Pearson, told USA Today that they maintain a cyber security perimeter prior to the actual president or elected president, whatever, coming ahead of time. Mm-hmm. This is to safeguard the area for the president or the elect, whoever's going to be, campaigning at that time. Mm-hmm. They do this way in advance. She also said that they actually do 1,000 yards out. So prior to the actual event taking place, let's just say the event takes place at 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. Way in advance, prior mm-hmm. to anybody going there, you packing up your family and everything, they already secured the area, 1,000 yards. So that's like more than a football field, all the way out. So if someone's telling me that building,
right?
If someone's telling me that building was 150 yards away, but you secured a perimeter of 1,000 yards out, the math is not mathing, because all this is secured. So how is it that some 20-year-old, and they said he didn't have any military experience, he wasn't a double agent or nothing, was able to walk in, have a whole rifle, scale a building, then low crawl on a roof, whole machine gun, and clap the president? Like, how is this? And now here's the thing: regardless if you don't like him, regardless if you do like him, he was within centimeters of his head being blown off on national TV.
National TV, right? So before we even get into that, let's catch up on the comments real quick.
All right.
All right, you got Miss Shatima. I think this is the first time she's commenting. Hi, Shatima. Hey. Let's go, ladies. Let's talk. All right, you got Kenny, another newcomer to the comment section. Hey. All right, and then you got Aurelia saying, yes, the fist in the air saying fight was crazy, LOL. We didn't even dive into that too far yet. And then Charles said the sitting president has more protection than a former president. True. But a former president still has protection. A candidate for one of the major parties in an election year, a couple months away from the election, also has a shit ton of protection.
Well, and just to add to that, and we just, and the quote is from the director of the former director of the Secret Service. They secure the area prior to us even being there. So they're already kind of knowing. And in the video, I don't know, I hope I was able to share the screen. You've seen it. They had an actual counter sniper team on the opposite side. So you already had your boys up there. So why would you have the counter sniper team on one side, but then you just left that other side just kind of unmanned? And now, based on what she said, she's like, they do 1,000 yards. So that we're going to get back to that one.
We know that. So Z said, good evening, Z. And let's see, Tima said, exactly. I think she's talking about the 20-year-old with no training, all of that. She said, make it make sense.
The math ain't nothing.
So said the Secret Service has been riddled with issues going back a while now.
They have. I remember the other presidents, you had people walking up in the White House. You had cars coming up through the White House, breaking the barriers. They have been.
You had a party. The president wasn't secure. It's been... Secret Service has some issues too. But before we completely shit on them, not everybody in the Secret Service has the same issues, right? And for those people that ran up on that stage, use their bodies to physically shield the president and do their job, or the ex-president, and see their job and kind of all of that. Like, first of all, kudos to those people. And another thing I want to point out about the Secret Service, not that that's what we're talking about right this moment, but for some reason it stood out to me in a warming way that when they did actually stuff him into that car finally, after they had to wrestle his fist down and push him in the car and everything else, did anybody else notice that it was all women that surrounded the SUV? Did anybody else peep that? Because I did. In the 90s, up until the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, women couldn't even be in the Secret Service, but here they were, shielding the man. So I just wanted to toss that out there too. But yeah, the Secret Service has its issues.
I want to say this, and I hate finding flaw in anyone when they do their job, only because when it's time to perform, you can read all types of protocols and everything, but when it's actually time to perform, I have seen people mess up. That's why there are protocols, because people mess up, they freeze, they forget certain things, whatever the case may be, and what happens in these real-time situations. I feel though I don't want to jump on the conspiracy theory. I honestly don't. But there's always some truth that's mixed into that conspiracy. At the end of the day, and I know, Charles, you're typing in. When you're on the show, Charles, you always say, move and act like you have a target on your back. If you moved and act like you had a target on your back, you'd be able to walk into situations differently because you're always thinking somebody's out to get you. And Trump has had many people curse, yell, throw things, and do different things. They just don't like him. You know, like I say, he's very controversial. So I'm assuming just because of the fact of who he is, security would be extra tight. Security is going to be extra tight. Now, he could be a little bit cavalier and like, well, yeah, you know, I may not need it. But I'm just assuming that on one side of that area, it was very secure. But on that 150 yards away, it wasn't. And once again, there were police officers there. They interviewed a guy. I wish I had him on this show. He had the red hair, and he's like, I'm yelling to the police. There's a guy scaling the wall. Like, the guy's literally, he's doing one of those numbers. And no, the cops are like, huh, what, where, what are you saying? Now, current recent update said that there was a cop that went up there, and he couldn't engage because the guy turned around and had a weapon drawn to him. So then he went back down. But Charles, if you're on, is that how you would engage? If you're scaling a wall yourself and you see the enemy right there, and the enemy turns around and points the weapon at you, what would be your next move? Would you call it in? Would you jump back down? Would you say, hey, snipers on the other side? Because they said as soon as that happened, that's when the shots let off. It's just a lot of things are not mapping. I mean, how do you get past everybody? Like, what am I watching? The Beekeeper? Like, how do you have all these fucking uniforms and shit? Like, are you John Wick? What's happening? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let me get to these.
Yeah, we got tons of comments, right? So let's see. Candace said, from what I saw, the actions of the Secret Service was sketchy to me. I think we missed a couple. If you actually go back a little bit, you've got Les that said the blind spots seem very JFK-ish.
See what I'm saying? See, I'm liking what you're saying.
So, and Zuma said, right, the math ain't mathin', right? So Kenny said, I'm saying the same thing. Let's see. You got Annie saying Trump cooks stuff and has been serving it, and now he's been served. And I don't believe that this is the end of it either. A shame.
We're going to get back to that.
I have tons of thoughts. Yes. All right. So Charles said, again, more assets are put into place to protect a sitting president than a former president or candidate. Also, there are different tiers of agents. Quality is not all the same.
Okay.
That's fair. Kenny said they didn't even react like they were supposed to.
So this is what we're gonna go with this, and it's like, here you really gonna point. Let me look. I got some more questions now. Now, Cash had said to me like, well, because Trump is tall. Now he is a very tall individual. So my question was, so now they are surrounding him, and that is very heroic. That's very brave. You know, for that job, they risk their lives. They may not go home to their families to protect, you know, the individual. So they're jumping on this guy, and the guy's like, wait, let me get my shoe. And, you know, they're like, hey, you know, shooters down. And they're making their codes and they're doing their thing. But then you see him, and then he's like, fight. And even though that was the case, how did you know that there wasn't maybe even more snipers out there? I mean, he was exposed at one point. There was one point where he was completely exposed after he even got shot again. And I just feel like it could have been done differently. And then the audience, I mean, I don't want to sound crazy. I'm not going to blame on the fact that can be ghetto sometimes, but I'd be like, because I would have been straight. Lord Jesus, take me out.
Okay, so let's talk about this audience.
I would have been dying. Wait, time out. See, time out. I got to finish this joke. I'm always cracking jokes. Let me tell you real quick. I was at the Florida Mall, and my baby was a little tiny baby, and I don't do the whole diaper change all up in the dirty bathroom. So I was doing it, like covering it up and doing everything. She's like 1 year old at the time. And then Cash, he had went to the restaurant. I don't know what he was doing. But Deanna, my other daughter, we looked up and they're like, it's a shooting. and run. And the cop grabbed all the kids and he's running towards us. My baby was like half done with her outfit on. When I tell you I snatched my child by the throat, I was like, oh, hell no. When I ran, somebody left their kids. I was like, they could have been a bomb. I don't know what. I was jumping over people. When I tell you, you're not catching me. These people here, they were sitting there. One person did like this while they was getting down. The woman, I was like, what the hell are you doing? What the fuck? They shooting in these streets, bitch.
Yeah. The whole thing was really, really strange, right? Because as far as I know, even when you're in a nightclub, in any parade, in anything, right? If one person yells gun or fire, people get trampled. Like you're in more of a risk of getting trampled than you are of getting shot in some instances, right? Like there have been shootings where more people died from being trampled than anything. Look at the Vegas shooting was like that. A lot of people got trampled in the Vegas shooting. You hear shots being popped off, right? You're at a political rally, you run. Like I for the life of me, I can't wrap my mind around the audience response when I tell you that I think I'm still processing. I think I'm having a very, very delayed reaction. Here's what I will say: if you've noticed, I have tried really, really, really hard not to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. Right? I'm trying. I hear it. I think everybody has a right to an opinion. Everything. But here's what I'm gonna say. Alex Jones.
Oh, not the juice.
You didn't see that coming, right? But like, hear me out. So Alex Jones, when Sandy Hook happened and all these first graders were killed in their classrooms, right? The people on that side of the fence, the "you'll never take our guns" people, said it was a conspiracy. And he had his people really believing that this was not a true thing, that these were crisis actor children and crisis actor parents. And for years, they went disturbed their grave sites, dug up their bodies, and finally, right, he has been sued into oblivion. Now he's on TV, he's crying, he's tomato red. Oh my God, these people won't stop. We can't become them. I'm not telling you that it's not staged, not rigged, or not anything. What I'm saying is someone really died from a real gunshot wound.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, and a lot of things really did happen, and I refuse to go down the Alex Jones rabbit hole. I can have my opinions, I can have my theories and everything else, right? But what I wish would happen, if there was anything as poetic justice, I think they should have Alex Jones come out and explain how this was rigged and staged.
Well,
and not
I'll say
that's perfect. So
I'll say this. I don't know to what. That's why I said for people who say that it was staged, give a little bit more context, because real people did die. Real people panicked. Real people did not have the same reaction that I have. And I understand that not everybody has the same reaction. But I can say that I'm not going to give a round of applause to the Secret Service or the police, because how did this whole thing transpire? There was something there.
Something, yeah, for sure.
There was something there that happened. Now, who did it? Is it an inside job? Whatever. That's possible. And then we can go down that rabbit hole. But yes, people did die. And it's unfortunate that no one deserves to get shot.
And believe me, I am not coming to anybody's defense or anything. I'm not. The odd point that I think I'm trying to make here is all those people that for all these years have told us all these shootings are fake and they're not real. I want to hear them tell us that this one ain't fake either. You can't play both sides of the fence. When kids get shot, it's fake, right? They're crisis actors. When Parkland happened here in Florida, when Sandy Hook happened in Connecticut, everywhere else, it's fake. It's the Democrats who are coming to get their guns, right? But when it's a registered Republican shooting an AR at a Republican rally, why aren't they talking about the fakeness of it? Where are those same people? Come out now and tell your people that were there that this was fake, because all the other shootings have been fake. I want those people to come out and sing that same song. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, sing that song now. Also, these pro-gun people that'll never take your guns, how come nobody in the audience started shooting back? It's weird, because they couldn't put their guns to their rally where they're so pro-gun. I think that's strange too. I mean, if you'll never take our guns, then why do they have them check their weapons at the door? And I mean, that might sound ignorant, but those are those people. And for a 20-year-old that has no military training to be a sniper with almost that level of precision, because he turned his head at the last moment, or this would be a different conversation. Why is that? That also comes from that culture. They raise their children with AR-15s in their hands. I don't know if you guys have seen it. They have ARs in little cute colors with cartoon characters on them for 4 and 5-year-olds. They make assault rifles for preschoolers. If you don't believe me, look it up. So somebody 20 years old has had possibly 15 years of training, right? So, and again, this came from their camp. This is not, this whole notion that it's whatever conspiracy you want to align yourself with. You had a 20-year-old with sniper skills that's never been in the military that got that close to shooting an ex-president. You call that whatever you want to call it, but the things that are wrong with it aren't just the conspiracy aspects of it. The things that are wrong with it is the culture surrounding the fact that we can't even believe what we see at all.
You make a good point, and I remember some time back, and before the show ends, we're definitely going to talk about preparation and those things, because a lot of times when people think about prepping, they think about the storms that are coming, but no, there is a storm coming. But it's interesting when you talk about the culture, because we talked about 9/11 one time when we had a show about just reflecting on 9/11, and if 9/11 was to happen all over again, current day, we would be torn even more, because we've seen a lot of unity. People who didn't know people were helping strangers and all types of stuff. But if that was to happen again, it would be staged. It's not real. That ain't no real smoke. And even though there's still some conspiracies about how it happened now, we still know thousands of people died. Regardless, that I think, and that's what I think, that the line gets blurred, because they're like, oh, it was an inside job. Right. I didn't have to leave. His family didn't leave, and all these different things. But like I said, you have to kind of dissect it, because it's definitely a lot about the culture too.
And so let's see. Tima said the cherry blood is sketch. Before that, Kenny said, Kia, you really on point. Let's see. Cash said, I think politically this was definitely a win for Trump.
Well, I want to stop right there for 1 second. Somebody said it too. So we were on the whole Biden thing, like, yo, should he stay in? He's too old. They had like 16 people come out already saying, hey, we don't want him. We need somebody else. Let's maybe vice president. And this kind of made it. That's why some people had like maybe Biden had something to do with it. For the simple fact, no one's talking about how old Biden is anymore. Everybody's talking about this, and they're going to be talking about this for a couple of weeks now. So at the end of the day, this does kind of, I didn't say I believed it. You looking at me kind of funny, Liz. I didn't say I believe. I just said that's what they saying in the street.
It would not be a good approach for Biden to make a martyr out of Trump. I mean, he's already kind of got God status.
I'm just repeating what the streets are saying.
I don't think it's a good idea to martyr him of all people. Like,
I'm just repeating what the streets are saying.
I'm just saying. So Tima said, bullshit, fight what? So,
yeah, that was I don't yeah.
All right. Charles said, not all police units are tied to the same comms. Patrolmen won't be able to communicate to Secret Service. Right. They would call it up, and then their comm center would push it to the Secret Service.
And let me stop. I want to stop right there. So since I mentioned 9/11, when 9/11 took place, a lot of people came back just to kind of do that check of where did we go wrong, and where the NYPD and the police department, and the fire department said they were going to change their communication, because you had the police leaving the building and the firefighters going up the building. And if they had proper communication, were able to talk amongst each other, then they were able to say, hey, this building's not stable, this is what's going on, or whatever the case may be. So they changed that. So you would think something like that happened in 2001, now current day 2024, that we would have, especially for these type of events, we'd have more type of a communication. We get information to bear. No, I would hope that.
And the FDNY being able to communicate. What you're talking about now is a person that's moving from city to city, state to state, across the entire country. No.
I'm talking. So what I'm talking about is the fact, if I know that a potential candidate as big as Trump, because Trump is going to bring out the people that don't like him and the people that love him, and they could be kind of radical on either side, maybe. It would be nice if a project manager or whoever sets up that stage would say, hey, we all need to be on the same sheet of music. So we're going to have one central command, communication or whatever the case may be. Because if you have this one, I got to go up my chain of command. What happens if it was the meter maid guy that gives out parking tickets seeing something suspicious? Now I got to go find my fucking manager. Then he got to find this person. The man done came through already. You had thought it'd be a little bit more streamlined. Nowadays, 2024, and AI and all these other things are so prevalent.
Right.
Oh,
so let's see. Candace said now they're gonna sell T-shirts of that image, girl. T-shirts.
They already are.
What do they call it? Iconic. It was weird. I was watching
on the cover conservative was like, this is the best.
Oh my gosh, you had seen these reporters. I swear they sounded like they were getting off the iconic image, the phoenix rising from the ashes with his fist. Oh my god, it was so nauseating. And when they the one guy on Fox said, what did he say? He goes, that was God's breath that blew the wind just so. These are true quotes. I'm not looking this up. This is God's breath. He breathed and the wind shifted. And if not for that, but for a quarter of a centimeter, the president would have been no more.
Not God's breath. All right.
God's breath. It was
okay.
I promise you. I had to tune in. I had to see what they were saying. I had to.
Okay. I didn't hear that one.
Kenny said, right. Like no one was even moving or panicking or talking about it. Shaking my head. Hell nah. So let's see. And he said, this was a wake-up call for Trump.
You know what's interesting? They had a lot of jokes on this on social media that he's going to come into the RNC the convention, and he's going to be dressed like Tupac. You know how he had the bandage on? He's going to be thugged out like, this is how we do. Okay, go.
I can't. Looking like 50 Cent. Yo, I thought you got hit in the ear while you limping. I'm confused. All right. So let's see. Tiva said it's casualty to this mess. It was something that just don't make no sense. So yeah, no one in the audience ducked. No one tried to lay flat. Not anyone that she saw. I mean,
you know what? And also, when they zoomed in, when they was actually taking him out, people were turning to the camera like "F you." And I'm like, well, what did the cameraman do? What's
did you see that? Okay, I saw that. Like, where does this anger come from? Like the anger never stops. Even when Trump got up, he looked pissed. And I'm going, is that the first thought that you would have? I could be driving down the highway. Somebody gets too close to me and I call my husband like, I love you. So I don't understand that, right? And even as a rally goer, as a Trump supporter, as a whatever it is that if you were out there, at no point did he wanted his shoe, he wanted people to fight, he wanted to put his fist up. He didn't once say, is everybody okay? Never. Like, come on, like seriously, what the fuck kind of leader is that?
But you know what? The shoe part got me because he was like, you know how much these Giuseppe's cost? What
school shootings are on my mind, but could you imagine something in a scenario like that where the teacher is and they take a bullet or whatever, or they barely miss the bullet or anything, and they get up, people all around, children, people that are there because of them or that they're responsible for protecting or whatever it is, right? And they pop up, where's my shoe? And who the hell tried to take a shot at me? The first thing you wouldn't do is check on the people around you, the people that came for you, that care for you, that support you. You wouldn't at no point say, is everybody okay?
We all seen them we all seen them action movies when the person grabbed a child and used it as a shield. Like, wait, give me the baby. Okay, go ahead.
But you guys don't have that question. Like, if there is any Trump supporter, and I know we don't have a whole lot that watch this show, but can anybody explain to me what it is that you're looking for in a leader? Because the first thing I was looking for Biden to do, he did. Like, you have to call for unity. You have to call to bring down the temperature. You have to call for, violence is not what we do. This man got up and said, fight. Like, what president of any country
knows how to work a crowd? He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to work a crowd.
That's ridiculous, right? So Tima said, all this is real. It's happening. We are witnessing all of it.
And it's going to continue. It's going to be very, very interesting.
So Janae, new to the comment section, I believe, said, dude ratings went sky high from this. He definitely won the popularity vote. for the day. I think the more people think about this, the more ridiculous it's going to get. Popcorn Passport said, "Don't forget me." I think way early on, he said that the thing looks so staged. Remember that? We said we'd get back to it. We did. So, Cash out there telling everybody, hit that like button, like and subscribe. Please do. So, and then Charles said, yeah, they're milking it. And they're selling those t-shirts, trust me, right? Tima said, Janae, when the man came out with Sleepy Hollow and Chef G, I said he won. His popularity went sky high. So, hi Janae, it's just me, Juju. I know Juju. I didn't know Janae.
Hey. No, you know what? And just to kind of segue to another topic, right before the show came on, Biden addressed the nation in the Oval Office, and he was talking about kind of like what he was talking about, but in a more formal setting, and he was letting America know, like, hey, under no circumstances is it going to be a thing of where we're condoning violence. We are able to have political conversations and disagreements, but violence is not the key. It made me think to myself, if the tables were turned and Biden was running and he ended up getting hurt, would that message come out of Trump's mouth? And I really, really, really want to say the answer is no, because there's no humility in Donald Trump, unfortunately. And the issue is, even though we know Sleepy Joe is very sleepy, what Donald Trump represents in his dictatorship is real. And now that you see that this has happened, for whatever reason, people are losing their minds on social media of what they will do to protect the president. And not even that. Think about January 6th. January 6th is not something that didn't happen, even though one side wants to not talk about it. It happened. And people lost their lives then. I remember in live witnessing the lady from the Air Force. She jumped over the men and the one guy shot her. I mean, blood everywhere on the camera. Like, this is real life happening. And when Trump got on TV, he said, you know what? I love you. Just go home. You guys are great. And he didn't condone anybody. Trump is talking about telling people, like, hey, he wants to do a pardon for the people that ended up getting locked up. And these people are radical people, clearly, as if you remember, to stand by and stand down. He hasn't changed his viewpoint on that. So when it comes to what's happening next, I didn't know it was going to happen so soon. That's what kind of got me. I thought it was going to happen a little bit time. We had a little bit more time, but it as you can clearly see.
Right. So Popcorn Passport, I saw that you said you posted a ton. I know last week someone else told me that we missed a couple comments. We're not seeing it. I'm not sure why. Maybe sometimes YouTube flags certain things. But if there's any way for you to repost it, I'd be happy to get to your post.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that's happening. You're not the first person that's mentioned it. If it's happening to anybody else, if you notice we kind of skip past your comments, just do me a favor and just throw it back in there. We will get to it.
Yeah, we apologize. We want to get. I know. I'm nosy. I want to know what everybody got to say.
I want to know what you got to say.
I'm like, really? You feel this way?
Got you. Or you could even. I believe you have my number, so you can send it to my phone, and I will read it right off my phone. So I got you. It's HP Magazine said, I just stumbled across your show, very informative. I will now subscribe. You two are beautiful.
Thank you, HP Magazine. Okay, hello. We're okay.
Paul said wrong word, not humility, empathy. You need empathy, and you need to be humble. So
I mean, no, I to be honest with you, he has no coof. And it's really, really, really sad. I had said, right, the last show, I think we said, I don't know if I said it the last time we had our show, I was saying, like, the only person I think that could beat Trump in a popularity vote would be Michelle Obama. But she wants nothing to do with
she's kind of on the non type of tip. She's like, no, not happening.
I mean, especially that, what's so crazy, and I want to let you know, So I let the TV run sometimes, and I am a news junkie. I have laid off a little bit sometimes, more than what I used to. But the TV's running in my house, and my 7-year-old is hearing what's going on. And she's like, Mommy, why is that man crying? And I look up, and it's Hannity, and Hannity got the tears, and he's going through it. And I'm like, yeah, why is this asshole crying? Like, what is going on? But you know what? It's for the optics. It's for the sympathy vote. You know, and I actually wish that this show that we're doing now would actually had came on after they had this big convention, because they are going to be hopefully announcing the VP.
Oh, this man coming out. You know, he's gonna have the rap. He's gonna have some big bandage. Something.
He might even have a neck brace.
All the drama. Oh, it's gonna be full drama, right? The whole fist pump action and everything. Okay, yeah, it's going to be all drama the whole week long. You just wait for it, right? And the way that these people are talking, I promise you, words I don't usually say. Go watch Fox, because you would never believe how they are describing that. You don't understand. You know, these are prayers answered, and first of all, stop that. Right? Could you imagine, Kia? You just brought up a really good point. Could you imagine if Joe Biden said that, good people were shot on both sides? Speaking of the shooter and the guy that was shielding his family. Could you imagine if he said, there were good people on both sides? Like, there's no way in the world. First of all, there's no way in the world Joe would ever say anything like that, ever, right? But could you imagine if he did? Could you imagine what his people would say if he said something like, there's good people on both sides? Do you know how many times they have called for blood in the streets? I remember Hang Mike Pence. You remember that one? I remember that if somebody's acting up at one of his.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off, because I'm sorry to cut you off, and because I wanted to really get this point across before we go into the last portion of prepping, and then finishing up with the comments. I wanted to say this at the end of the day, we have some anarchy that's going on, and we can clearly see, we can kind of smell what's happening. Biden said we don't condone it on either side, and even though he's saying that, and we're saying, hey, violence is not per se the answer. This fucking country was built on violence. In order to get about 90% things done, violence ends up taking place. Not saying that it should. No one should get harmed. But if you think about history, and I'm a history buff, a lot of things ended in violence. A lot of change happened because of violence, unfortunately. So it's just really interesting how all this will play out. I know when Charles was on a couple of shows back, we were talking about Black men and voting. And one thing I heard was there are some Black men who said, let this shit burn. Let it burn. Let it go. I don't got no skin in the game. They're not here for neither one of me. You know what I'm saying? That was their mentality. And I think a lot of people don't have hope anymore, and they're over it. You ever somebody just tired? You ever had that kid that just piss you the fuck off? And you just like, I'm tired of your shit. And they just, you know what? Let me get my wine. Leave me the fuck alone. Whatever you're doing, whatever. You're going to have to crash and burn. And it feels like that is where the temperature's kind of turning, unfortunately. And a lot of people are going to be affected by that. Let's jump into these comments, and then we'll go to prepping.
All right. Let's see. Kenny said, love you. The show, y'all are both awesome. Keep it going. We get all the love tonight. Thank you, guys. Right? So Charles said, no, that's not Trump's MO. He will want to look invincible. He'll come in GQ. Okay, maybe. We'll see.
With a Trump suit on.
Keeping the long Trump tie on, for sure. All right.
Okay.
You know what, Charles? I'll get that to you. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Juju said, well, Fox News is ran by a Republican. In their eyes, Trump is God. Yeah, that's really it. I'm telling you, you should really tune in and just don't do too much of it. It'll hurt. It'll give you a headache, right? Don't do too much. But if you hear them and how this is, it's divinity, and it just goes to show that God wants this man in power and that this is the leader that we need. I wish I could wrap my mind around it. I want so badly to be able to understand, not even agree. I just want to understand what the fuck they're talking about half the time. I don't know. I just don't understand it at all. Right? I don't understand it at all. Cash said it's still the summer, and this is definitely the wildest election I have ever seen ever. I'm getting my popcorn and tuning in. So
Well, you know what? And while you're getting, that's a great segue. While you're getting your popcorn and tuning in, I want to make it very clear that there are radical people. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, who's the radical? There are radical people out there. I know in Orlando, Florida, I'm in Orlando, Florida. And in Florida, there are certain parts where it's a very liberal area, but all of a sudden you'll have a news truck coming out and say the Ku Klux Klan was just, talking about ABC 123 right on the corner of whatever. And you'll start seeing the big Proud Boy flags and just different things. You're like, oh,
it gets
snap.
weird. It gets really weird around here.
Yeah. They're really, really true Trump supporters out in Florida. But with that being said, though, know your local laws, your state laws. And the reason why I say that, because, being in Florida, Ron DeSantis said, hey, if you're going to protest and you're protesting like this, you can get a felony. So a lot of people are like, I don't know. So even if you wanted to go to the streets and say, hey, make my voice heard, a lot of things are about to change. A lot of people are not aware of their local laws and what they can do and how they make their voices heard. Regardless of what you believe, at the end of the day, stay safe. Make sure you always have a good pile of extra food available. Make sure you always have extra lighting. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know here in Florida, once again, I'm only talking about Florida, and I can even talk about New York in some cases. People do get out to the streets, and there will be curfews and different things. And sometimes they can get a lot of civil unrest and different things happen. I mean, we've actually witnessed in this time frame where we see crazy things take place. So we want to make sure that we have little ones. We're letting them know. We're making sure, like, hey, be mindful of who you have communications with in reference to these topics. I remember one time my oldest daughter wearing a T-shirt, and the guy was questioning her, like, now, what do you believe? And I'm like, wait now, like, who are you talking to? So, and she was an adult at this time. So just be very, very mindful. And I always say, make sure you have a weapon. I mean, I don't know if your stance has changed, Liz. I know at one point you was like, I don't know about the weapon, but I'm all pro weapon in reference to knowing exactly how to use it and being a responsible gun owner. That's definitely the case. But like he said, get your popcorn ready because shit's about to hit the fan. I don't think this is the end.
This is going to be an interesting election season. I will tell you that. I'll admit this to you, Kia. I've considered the gun ownership.
Okay.
I've considered it. Right? That's a whole different show for a whole different day.
Well, before we go into last words with Liz, I just wanted one last little key bit. Liz made a thing, and she said, listen to Fox News. Don't be too consumed with it, but just listen to it. And I would also encourage listen to AM radio. Just listening to what your enemy wants. Always be prepared. Always come outside thinking like somebody gonna get you. Not saying that you're supposed to be worried ward, but just always watch your six. You know what I'm saying? Watch it back. If you're in a situation where you wanted to go to a campaign and see people and whatever you're doing, make sure you know your exits. I know there's like, oh, I don't want to say nothing. If you see something suspicious, say something because you could be saving a life. A lot of things that we already know. We're so kind of tone deaf to mass shootings now, right? It happens so often, but you have to be able to know exactly what to do in that situation. Let's just say you have a family. How are you training your family? Hey, we get separated. Where's the meetup spot? What's all these different things? Unfortunately, this is the society that we live in, so we have to be vigilant. And if Donald Trump is your next president, it's gonna be a whole nother ball game because a lot of different laws are going to be changing as well. But we definitely want to make sure, Liz, that you wrap it up with the last word with Liz.
All right, here's what I'm going to say, right? I am of the camp that the fastest way to bring something down is to first divide it, right? And we are at a place where we're so divided. We have all these silos. I don't know where you stand in terms of just being a patriot or anything, but unless y'all have a better country to move to or a plan to get there and a plan to get there quick, we probably should start figuring out some way to start trying to come back together. There are some forces out there right now that are genuinely trying to deepen these divides, because there's something nefarious coming, right? Whether this is a conspiracy or it's divinity or it's foreign enemies or internal enemies. We've never been in a place like this as a country, right? And the idea is always to divide and conquer. The fastest way to get something to fall is to break it into little pieces. So you can have one whole piece of glass, right? But the minute it starts cracking, the whole thing comes crumbling down. So let's be really careful about what we're allowing to happen. Again, if we don't have a plan to go somewhere different, then we're all raising kids here. This is what we have. So we should maybe try to fix it, right? To the people that were injured, there are still people in the hospital. The one guy whose family is going to sleep tonight without him. Those are those are Trump supporters. I'm not telling you that I believe what they believe, but I do believe that they're humans, and somebody doesn't have a father today that had a father yesterday over some bullshit, right? Even to the parents of that 20-year-old, like, I mean, he was an asshole, but what does parents do? Right? And so, like, on a human level, we just have to kind of get back to just remembering that people are people, right? As far as Trump goes, Trump is doing Trump things, and somebody said it best when they said that he's been serving it for a moment and now he's been served. So I'm not saying that he deserved it. I'm saying sometimes a taste of your own medicine is what the doctor prescribed, right? So stop encouraging violence unless you want the violence to turn on you, period. And that goes for everybody, right? Like, yo, let's get it together. Let's try to come together. I know that somebody else just popped into the comment section for the first time. Hi, Karina. She said, just showing love, listening to your podcast on our way back to Florida. So she's driving home.
Hey. Safe travels, girl.
Let's mention, I think you were talking about some of the crazy places in Florida, and she threw out there that Altamont Springs is it's an interesting place to be. So, guys, thank you so very much for tuning in with the late notice tonight and everything else. You guys know if anything else crazy kind of happens and we have to get after it, we will. In the meantime, keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and have a beautiful, blessed week.
Yay! Love you guys. Oh, treat others the way you want to be treated. Never gets old. That is so true.
Yeah, never gets old. Thanks, Candace.
And if you got a knuckle up,